in the previous lectures we have discussed modularity, right, CART, then permanence, and how we can use those metrics for community detection. We then started off by discussing overlapping communities using click percolation method, right. So all these methods that we have discussed so far, if you think about them carefully, they actually optimize certain metric, right, be it permanence or modularity, they try to optimize it, right. But there is another way to detect community structure based on something called a generative model. So generative model in general is very popular in machine learning. I am not going into the details of generative model, but basically here the idea is that we basically we take a parameterized parametric model, and then based on the parametric model we generate the network. Okay, based on the parametric model we generate the network, and we see whether the generated network, how this generated network resembles with the original network that's already there, right, and we try to minimize the distance between these two. So and we'll see that the beauty of this parametric method is that so this method takes into consideration the community information, and based on the community information it basically creates the network structure. Okay, it may sound like vague. Let me define it in an appropriate manner. So we we propose something called affiliation graph model. So this affiliation graph model is a generative model. It is a parametric model, right, which is defined as this. Okay, so we have V, which is a set of vertices. We have C, which is a set of communities. We have M is the some sort of node to community association, and PC is the probability of a community. So what is the idea here? The idea here is the broad idea here is that using this model, okay, so here if you look at it carefully, we will assume that the number of communities or the number of communities is given. Okay, although there are methods to identify number of communities, but let us assume that there is some oracle, and the oracle says that the number of communities is 3 or 2. So here the C is the number of C is the community set, and the cardinality of C is 2, let us say, right. So V is given, we know the set of vertices, we know the number of communities, but we do not know how these communities look like. We do not know this M. M is basically a parameter which we learn, and we also do not know PC that we will also learn. Okay. So what is the idea here? The idea here is that if two nodes are part of a community, it is highly likely that they will be connected. If two nodes are part of multiple communities, it is even more likely that two nodes will be connected. Okay. So based on the community affiliation of a node, of a pair of nodes, we will decide whether they are connected or not. And it actually makes sense if you think carefully. Let's say two individuals, right, two persons. So they go to the gym together, they go to the music club together, they go to some drama society together, right. So it is highly likely that they are also friend, right. And now think of two cases where two friends go together to a gym and that's all, and the second case, these two users go together to the gym, go together to the drama class, go together to some coaching class. So in the second scenario, it is highly the likelihood that two nodes will be connected is higher than the first scenario. So the idea is the more a pair of nodes belong to different communities, the higher the chance, the higher the probability that they will be connected. Okay. So if we know the community structure somehow, you should be able to generate the network, because you know that this node belongs to this community, this node belongs to this community, and we will see the community affiliation, and the higher the intersection of their community affiliation, the higher the chance that they will be connected. Okay. And using this philosophy, we will actually construct the graph, and we will see that how the generated graph is different from the original graph. We also know the original graph. So, we are given a graph G, and the task is to detect communities from G. So, we will construct a graph using the parametric model, and then we will see the difference between this the constructed graph and the original graph. We will try to minimize the difference, and by minimizing the difference, we basically detect community structure. This is the idea. So, this method was proposed by Young and Leskovic in 2012, and in the affiliation graphical model, it is called AGM. This is the these are the parameters, and it looks basically like this. You have set of nodes, and let us assume that you know that there are two communities, community A, community B. Okay. We also know that we also define something called, say PC, right? PC is the community centric metric. So, PA is the probability of a node belonging to community A, PB is the probability of a node belonging to community B. Okay. And let us assume that we know this 4 sky nodes, 4 blue nodes, they belong to community A with probability PA. Each of the nodes belong to the community A with probability PA. Each of these green nodes belong to community B with probability PB, and these red nodes belong to both A and B with probability PA and PB respectively. Okay. Let us assume that you know the structure, right? I know that I understand that we do not know the communities, but let us assume that you know the communities, and you also know the PA and PB. Okay. So, now if we know this, what is the probability of existence of an edge between these two nodes X and Y? What is the probability that X and Y are connected via an edge? So, the probability that two nodes X and Y are connected is basically, so we basically look at all the communities where both X and Y belong to. So, let us say this MX is a set of communities. So, M is what I already mentioned, M is the node community association metric. You basically know that this node belongs to this communities, this node belongs to this communities, right. So, Mx is a set of communities where X belongs to, My is a set of communities where Y belongs to. Intersection, we take the intersection, and C is one such community where both the nodes belong to. Okay. So, for every such common community, what is PC? PC is the probability that both the nodes X and Y belong to the community C, right. What is 1 minus PC? Is the probability that both the nodes are connected, but not because of C. Okay. So, or in other words, basically, yeah. So we are trying to measure whether these two nodes X and Y are connected. So, 1 minus PC will tell you that what is the probability that they are not part of C, but still they are connected. Okay. And then you basically multiply these probabilities. So, you multiply the probabilities, which basically says, you see this big multiplication symbol here, which basically say that what is the total probability that X and Y do not belong to any community, any common community, but they are connected. Okay. 1 minus this will tell you that what is the probability that both these nodes are connected due to at least one common community. Okay. This is kind of an OR function, right? At least one. If both of them belong to at least one community, then they should be connected. Then the answer is yes. So, 1 minus this will be the probability that X and Y will be connected due to at least one shared community C. Okay. So so this is about community affiliation model or community graphical model or community affiliation model, okay, or affiliation graph model. So from AJM, what we do now, we relax some constraint. Now we say that so far we have assumed that this PA is constant for a particular community and all the nodes belong to that community with the same probability. It is not the case that this node belongs to this community with certain probability, this node belongs to the community with certain probability. No, all the nodes have equal probability to be a part of the community A. Similarly for B. Now we basically say that no, let us make it little different. Let us define something called membership value, right? F of xa. What is f of xa? F of xa is the membership probability or the membership value of this particular node x belonging to community A. Now this f is a function of both the node and the community. Unlike previous case where there was only PA, now we have PA, we have f xa, we have f ya, and so on and so forth. So nodes have different membership probabilities, which is more more reasonable because I belong to a community with certain extent, other member belongs to the same community with a certain extent, and so on and so forth. And this membership probability should be different, right? And if a node does not belong to any community, then this is 0. Okay. So now we measure the same thing. What is the probability that there is a link between x and y due to the community A? Okay. And we basically define it using this one, 1 minus exponential of minus f of xa times f of ya. Let us try to understand this one, right. So let us say this is 1, this is also 1. Okay. What would happen? So we will have 1 by 1 minus 1 by e, right, and let's assume that, so this is case 1. Okay. Case 2, assume that this is 0, this is 1. So 1 belongs to the community, other does not belong to the community. What would happen? This would be 1 by 1 minus e to the power 0, which would be 0. So if at least one node does not belong to the community, this probability would be 0, right. If both the nodes belong to the community, then the probability would be maximum. Okay. Now this is due to one such community. Okay. So what is the probability that these two nodes are connected due to the other communities, right? So this is for one community A, we have discussed. Okay. So what is the probability that both the nodes are connected due to all the nodes, due to all the communities? So there are, so we basically do the same thing, right? So 1 minus this big multiplication over all the communities, 1 minus PC xy, the same OR kind of function that we defined earlier, right. So this will give you the probability that they are connected, but not due to any community, but not due to all the communities, but then 1 minus this will give you that they are connected due to at least one community. Okay. Right. And then what we will do, then we will we replace PC by this one. If we replace PC by this one, then this will be 1 minus 1 plus exponential of minus f xa, in this case f xc, right, times f yc. Okay. This will cancel out. So we will have, right, 1 minus exponential of this one. Okay. Now you can think of this f, right, as a big bulky matrix like this, where rows are nodes and columns are communities. Okay. Let us say this is node x, this is node X. Okay, this is community 1, community 2, dot 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 community mod C. And what is this one? This node, this node, this particular entry is f of x1, right? This is f of x2, the membership of node X to community 2, and so on and so forth. Remember, the value f is not known to us, so this matrix is completely unknown to us. Okay, we will actually learn this metric later. So if you look at it, so you have this one, right? If exponential of minus summation of over all the communities this and this. What is this? This is essentially this is essentially multiplication of x column and y column, x row and y row, because across all the C's you will basically get this vector and you will get this vector. Okay, let's take an example. Say, let's say this is FU, FV, FW, right? This is community 1, community 2, community 3 and community 4. Okay, and these are the membership values. So what is FU times FV transpose? I'm basically calculating this one. This would be this into this. This is dot product. This into this. This into this. This into this. We'll get 0.16. What is PUV? Now PUV is 1 minus exponential of this quantity. So if you calculate, you will get 0.14. What about UW, right? So if you calculate UW, you will see that this will be P of UW will be 0.88 and PVW, you see PVW none of the communities are common, so you will get 0. Okay, so in this way you basically calculate the probability of existence of an edge between X and Y due to the communities where they are part of. If they are not part of any common community, it would be 0. If they share some communities, you will get non-zero values, right? So now what we have got? So we know that if there is an edge, this is the probability of existence of an edge. Okay. Now based on this probability P, you can construct a graph. How do we do that? So we say you already know this G, right? You already know this G, V comma E. You already know this. You already know the set of edges which actually exist. So according to our model, the edges which actually exist should have the probability that we calculated. Say there is an edge, say in this edge set, we have x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2, right, x3 comma y3. These are pair of vertices which actually form edges. So we know what is P of x1 comma y1 from our model. We know P of x2 comma y2. We know P of x3 comma y3. These are positive samples. What are the negative samples? Negative samples are those pairs of nodes which do not form the edge, which do not form edges in the original graph G, right? Let's say x1 y2 is a negative sample, right? X1 y3 is a negative sample. X2 y1 is another negative sample. We can also calculate this probability P of x1 y2, right? But since this edge does not exist, so what we will take? Here we will take 1 minus this one, because this is the probability that the edge should not exist according to our model. So then we basically define a function. So this is our objective function. What is our objective function? Our objective function says that let us take all the edges which actually exist in the graph G. So these are all such pairs, node pairs, which actually form edges in the original graph. For those pairs, we take the probability that we calculated based on the model. And for the other pairs which are not part of the E, we take 1 minus this. Again, this P is something that we calculated from our model. So this is the loss function. And what would be our task? Our task would be to maximize this loss function. Okay, we try to maximize the loss function. So since this is in the form of product, right? So we generally do not, when you optimize, we generally do not consider products. What we do, we basically convert it to sum, because multiplication and summation has, they have certain, summation has certain advantages over multiplication, floating point operation, right? So overflow and so on. So this is our likelihood. What is the likelihood? This is the likelihood of the entire graph based on our model. Okay, so we take log likelihood instead of taking the product. We basically take the log. So optimizing product is same as optimizing the log of the product. So log of the product is basically the sum of all the logs. So log of, basically log of x times y is log of x plus log of y. We take the log. So here we take the log. If we take the log, what would happen? Think about it. So if we take the log here, so we will take the log here, right? So it will have log of, so this will be sum of, because product, log of basically product is same as sum of all these logs. So this would be log of p of xy sum over all xy belong to E plus log of 1 minus p xy for all such xy which do not belong to E. Right? Now let us replace this pxy, right, by this one, 1 minus exponential of minus fx fy transpose, right. So this would be log of 1 minus, right, exponential of minus fx time fy transpose plus sum over all xy log of, so this 1 will cancel out, we will end right, and this so what would happen here, minus, so this will be plus, so log of exponential of fx times fy transpose. Okay, so this is basically sum of this log exponential will cancel each other. So fx fy transpose for all xy pair which do not belong to E, right. And for other we have this quantity. So this is the log likelihood that we want to minimize. This is a log likelihood that we want to maximize, right. So let's see. So this is 1 minus x minus, right, there was a minus here. So this minus will come outside, so this will be minus. Okay, so this will be minus of this, and then we have this one, right. So this is the function that you want to maximize, right. How we maximize it? And what are the parameters with respect to which we maximize? The parameters are this f matrix. Okay, we have f1, f2, so fu is basically one such thing. So we take the gradient, we'll use gradient ascent algorithm because we are maximizing it. We take gradient ascent algorithm, so we take the gradient with respect to fu, and then we get the gradient, and then we update fu with every with respect to every gradient, right. So fu would be fu plus the gradient, and this is the this quantity, the quantity based on which you basically jump up, right. You are doing gradient ascent, so you basically you want to jump up, and this is the quantity of your jump, right. So you will use standard gradient descent or sophisticated version of gradient descent, like say some sort of coordinate coordinate, gradient descent, and so on and so forth, right? So I am not going into the optimization part of this, but if you want to learn more about gradient descent part, you may want to go back and check the some of the basics of convex optimization, or some fundamentals of machine learning. Okay, so this is about BigClam, and the beauty about BigClam is that, so let us try to recap what we have discussed. So we started off with a parametric model, then we and then one of our parameters was this f, right? This f matrix. I think this is the only parameter that we have, and then we basically come up with a loss function. Then we take the gradient, we use gradient descent or gradient ascent algorithm based on maximization, you want to maximize or minimize. Then what you get when you optimize it, you get this optimal values of these parameters f, and this f this matrix will give you ideas about, if you know this matrix well, you will be able to understand which node belongs to which community. Because ultimately, what is this metric about? This is, let's say this is node u, right? So you will get all these values. This is fu1, this is fu2, and this is fuc, right? You will get some values. And you can set a threshold. Okay, let's say you set a threshold of 0.7, and you say that, look, I will only assign node u to those communities whose membership values are greater than equals to 0.7. So say for example, this is 0.2, this is 0.7, this is 0.1, others are 0. So you only assign u to this community, right? Now you can think of many questions, right? For example, here we said that we need to know how many communities are there. The size of the community should be known, right? In many applications, we actually are given the number of communities, but in the original paper of BigClam, they also suggested a way to identify the number of communities automatically, right? That's the first problem. The second problem is, how do we set the threshold? Again, in the original paper, they actually suggested a way to set a threshold, and this threshold can be set manually. This threshold can also be set automatically. There's a very nice way to set the threshold, and then you say that, okay, if the community membership is greater than equals to the threshold, you assign that node to the community. Okay, so this is BigClam. I hope you understood this algorithm. We will continue discussing on the other types of algorithms for overlapping communities. Thank you.